2017 is right around the corner. And before I move on, I just wanted to put a cap on the year for myself and really look where I've come from and see where I need to go, I guess, for myself. And hopefully, show a few people that, you can progress far if you push yourself and let other people help you. And I really want to thank everyone who supported me this year in 2016, whether it's subscribing, liking, commenting, or just watching. Like, it really helps me as a pilot and a media creator want to push myself forward. And so, yeah, I guess I kind of just want to go over this year and what's happened. This time last year, I had never flown a drone. I think I've flown like a RC heli like once or twice, like a toy grade, and crashed immediately. But we have some farmland out in a town close to us, me and my family, and we had crow problems last year. And I always, threw out the ideas I should get a drone and try to scare them away, and so on and so forth. And that progressed to my Christmas present of last year, which was a Horizon Hobby Blade 350Q or something. I don't remember exactly what model number it was, but started off with that. Quickly moved on to a Cyma XC51, I believe is the model number. And then from there is when I ran across Oh My God and Mr. Steel and Schizo and a few of those other guys, and really got interested in FPV and wanting to push myself. And after skipping over the ready to flies, I started to build my first quad when I really just felt bored with those line of sight toy grade ones. And once I started seeing, freestyle videos. So I bought a Mobius and attached it to one of the toy grades and quickly realized that wasn't going to work. So I think I returned or sold the Mobius and bought a Xenyomi Yi, which is just kind of like a knockoff GoPro, and ran a script on it. And still was just messing around with all the, little accessories that I had to buy before really getting into FPV. It took me forever to build my first build, which was an Armatin F15. I had saw it online while looking through, alien frames and other things. I don't remember how I ran across Armatin, but I saw the lifetime guarantee. They had a kit. The guy who ran the company, Chris, was a really cool and down-to-earth gentleman. So I bought me the kit. It came from out of the country, so it took a long time to come in, and I didn't have anyone local to help me. So I was just piecing away at this build and having a problem along every step, but still just playing with my toy grade ones. And at this point I had bought a remote also, so I was using simulators to help further my knowledge and muscle memory and getting used to FPV, because I think I bought the FPV module for the Cyma or Sima, whatever it is, but I hated it. It just didn't feel right. And then I bought Liftoff and messed around with hot props and really started getting into FPV. At that time, I thought Liftoff was great. It helped me build muscle memory in preparation for my first build being ready. But if you've seen my videos, I'm not really a believer in Liftoff anymore. It made me think I could do a lot of things that I really couldn't do, which was what happened to my first build, my first Armatin. I didn't take into account the weight difference in batteries, and I slammed into the ground while doing a stalled backflip, and like less than 10 batteries on my first build when I finally got it flying, just destroyed the gyro on the flight controller. The Armatin kit that I had bought was an integrated flight controller, so that means that the PDB and the flight controller were one piece, but it wasn't in the small form factor, the 32 by 32. It was the actual body of the frame was part of the PDB, and the flight controller was integrated to that. So every single piece of shock and vibration that I took that huge hit, this went straight into the gyro, and it just fried it. And me not having anyone around here to help me with this problem, it took me forever to figure out what it was actually. And so I actually got on the live stream with Joshua Bardwell, and big shout out to him. I would not have been able to push myself to get ready for my first races if it wasn't for him. There's no way, and just no way that just text on the internet and me could have made this happen. It was a lot to do with him. So big shout out to him. If you haven't checked him out, please check out Joshua Bardwell. An incredible source of knowledge. Of course, he's not perfect, but man, he's dedicated, and the guy knows this stuff. With that being said, I destroyed my first Armatin, and they were out of the integrated flight controllers. They were out of the PDBs. So I ordered another flight controller and another way to get a PDB in there, but it was on back order also, and it was going to take 3 weeks. So in this time, I realized I need to build something a little bit faster, because I had bought this kit and it was really just a beginner's kit. So I was really preparing myself for racing, because I was getting into these sims, and I'm not a competitive person, but for some reason the competitive side of racing with multi-rotors really struck me. And so that's when I bought my Krieger, and I built it out myself. I didn't use anyone else's part list. I didn't use anyone else's opinion. I just bought what I thought was going to work with the knowledge that I had. Of course, there was issues. The flight controller I went with, I wish I wouldn't have gone with, but you know, that's hindsight's always 20/20, or 20/20. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it helped me learn so much more to building another build right after the first one. I hated doing it. It was a lot of cost out of pocket, but that build is what really pushed me to start racing. And then I started setting up makeshift courses out at the farm, flying everywhere that had like proximity, and I could build just like a little, just like a little course real quick in my head. And me and the Krieger got really acquainted, but I'd skipped over a lot of huge pieces of information because I didn't have anyone pushing me local. I didn't know anybody that was really into racing. So that's what drug me out to my first race, which I found via MultiGP, which was the DRC Georgia State Championship. Now, if you don't know DRC, it's not DRL, it's the Drone Racing Club. It's a chapter in MultiGP. They're based out of Atlanta, I believe. But I've been there 2 of their races this year at the Pecan Patch up in Griffin, Georgia, led by Todd Wall, which he is freaking awesome. He's a great race coordinator and a cool guy. But really showing up to that event put me in my place. I thought I was going to be fast, and I was going to, just regulate on people. But that was my first time meeting Willard. If you guys don't know who Willard FPV is, you should definitely check him out. He was on DRL this year. He came 3rd in Worlds, and I think he came in 5th in Nationals. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he did really good this year. But that's when I got put in my place. I was seeing him race, and then after the race, I just happened to go do some freestyle up at the Atlanta Speedway, and I hear some motors. I thought it was, there's no way someone else came right here, and went down the road, and there was Willard. And it's my first time to actually fly freestyle with anyone else. Earlier that day I had first time doing racing, which was just an experience that it was hard for me to wrap my head around because I was just so nervous. There were so many things going on, but I had to push myself through that first one. But flying with someone in a relaxed environment and being able to ask Willard questions and, just gain basic information from that I couldn't find on the internet from such a cool guy, that really made me realize how much more learning I have to do. So I pushed myself and decided I was going to every race I could possibly make it to. The next race I went to was in Huntsville, which was I think it was the July or June shootout, something along those lines. And that's where I ended up running into Matt Bennett, Bird Dog, and Finn, and that's where I really became acquainted with Shannon, SoGo FPV. I met him up in Georgia at the championships, but like I said, I was too busy just being nervous and not knowing what's going on. So, uh, Huntsville, Alabama is really close to Birmingham, and so this is where I really started to make friends that would push me to the level I'm at now. Because again, I showed up in Huntsville thinking that I had something, and just kind of getting stomped on really puts you in your place. So at this time after that race, where I think I came in like, I think we had a three-way tie for fifth, and I crashed out in the first lap, so that put me at like seventh or something. But other people had already made it to the regional, had already qualified for regionals that still put me in the qualifiers. And so, and I came in fifth also at that first race, which wasn't bad. And then seventh in the second. I was still kind of disheartened though. I wanted to get in the top three. So my next race was down at Delta 5 FPV in Daphne, Alabama. Me and my girl drove down there the day before and like hung out at the beach and stayed in the hotel. I had a great night and woke up the next day and went to fly with these awesome cats down in Daphne. They had set up a UTT track, and it was awesome. It was a great day, but that was my first time I won. I actually took that day home. I mean, and it was a great feeling, and I put a time up on the UTT also. I don't think Daphne or Delta 5 was a tier 3 at that point, so they couldn't officially post the time. But it was really good going home with the first place and technically put myself in the top 50 times on a UTT. Felt really good. And, I thought I was going to be a contender for the regional championships and at the Pecan Patch again, which if I would have made it, I think it was just the winner was guaranteed a spot, but man, I did really good. I think at the end of the second round I was in second place, but third round I eased myself out too much. Like, I was so nervous in the first two races, and I was trying to calm myself out and be zen about it, but I just got too relaxed. And the third round, I just smashed out in the first lap, and that just kind of destroyed me mentally for the day. But that race was a huge turning point for me. That's when I realized, listening to other people, I was missing huge chunks of information and critical points. Like, I didn't really care about what version of Betaflight I was on. At that point, I couldn't even tell you what I was on. I didn't pay too much attention to FPV cameras and lenses. I think I was still rocking a 2.8 at this time, which it's not bad, but now that I've made the switch to 2.5, it's hard to look back at that 2.8 days. And props too. Props were one of those things that I think I was still rocking bull noses, just worried about not breaking them. But I really started looking into more aggressive props and really looking at the technical side of them. So I went home and I rebuilt and ordered everything, and it made me realize too that I need a group around me to push myself. And the area that I'm at in Birmingham, Alabama, just doesn't have a community, even though I know there's people there and in the surrounding areas. So that's when I really started putting my head into FPV South, which is our local chapter here in Birmingham, Alabama. And I think to this date, I think we just had our fourth or fifth race. I want to say it's our fifth race. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a really fun year. When I started to, calm down, I'm not really worried about being competitive. I just want to build the community so we have more racers in this area, and it inspires me to want to find cooler places to race also. I think this year alone we've raced at a BMX course, at a water park that's closed for the season. We just got done with the indoor arena, and yeah, it's been nothing but fun. And with all of the great media that my team has put out with the races, I've had some very interesting prospects show up for 2017 as far as like being able to race at certain areas. So if you're involved with FPV South, or if you're not and you're in the local area, come join us and make sure to stay tuned for 2017, because there's going to be some really interesting things happen that I haven't personally seen anywhere. So yeah, please pay attention, and I'd love to see anyone out at the races that can make it out. Uh, Really, this year in 2017, what I want to do is help build the sport in general. DRL at the end of the year was a huge thing. I had all kind of people talking about it in this hobby and just in my life and random. And I've had, like I said, I have some interesting phone calls this last few months about things that they want to see in 2017 and people that we're going to be able to work with. And it's looking great. I just want to try to build it up, get more people involved, and just have more fun. So thank you guys for checking it out and listening. I wouldn't be doing any of this media stuff without all the support that I get from you guys. So thank you again. Leave a comment about anything that I might have missed out that you were involved with me this year in 2016. Again, thank you for all the pilots that I've met and helped me push myself to another level. Shannon, Damone, and Rocket City FPV, Scott, and Russell up in Daphne, Alabama, and Willard over in Atlanta, and we just met some other guys in Mississippi and Tennessee. I'm stoked for 2017. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Night Flyer, and I'm out.